Okay, so hello everyone and welcome to today's session, live Q&A with Dr. Madhura, MD Ayurved. She is going to help us answer and share insights into the age-old problem of acidity and heartburn, which plagues all of us, be it any age, any profession. All of us have faced acidity and heartburn at some point, and some of us face it on a chronic basis. And there are ancient sciences like yoga and Ayurveda in India, which we tend to forget. And the aim of my page is to bring back that, and that's why I'm having this live Q&A session to gain those insights from the experienced doctor. So I would like to start with my own brief introduction because some of my followers are very new, and then I'll introduce our brand partner Vedistry and Dr. Madhura to you. So as you know, I am your yoga instructor. I am a certified yoga and Pilates instructor with I have over 14 years of experience in self-practice, and I have over 5 years of experience as a teacher spreading the knowledge of yoga and Pilates to my community, which is almost over 500,000 now across all social media platforms. So thank you all for being with me for so long. Many of you also know me from outside social media because I am a full-time HR head at a leading organization, and I am also a mother of two. So that's about me. Now, as you know, I have dedicated my life to the promotion of holistic health, and that is why we are now embarking on a journey into this realm of Ayurveda. And specifically, we are going to focus on the profound insights of acidity today. And our session has been brought to us together today by Vedistry, the over-the-counter division of Charak Pharma, and which is a name synonymous with Ayurvedic excellence since 1947. It is a very old brand, very prestigious brand, and with a legacy that is steeped in tradition and innovation, Vedistry has been a beacon of trust and reliability in the realm of natural healthcare. Now, talking about our special guest here, Dr. Madhura Dhatrak, MD Ayurved. She's a practicing Ayurvedic physician for more than 6 years and a medical advisor at Charak Pharma. Doctor, I'll leave it to you to speak a few lines about yourself because I don't want to straight away bombard you with questions. So please.
Well, thank you. As you rightly said, yes, I've been a practicing clinician and Ayurvedic physician based in Mumbai, and I'm also working with Charak Pharma. Vedistry, as you rightly mentioned, yes, we are the OTC division of Charak Pharma, making the Ayurvedic and holistic medicines, you would say. For all sorts of disorders, and of course preventive and curative health we are into. And it's been the legacy of 76 years that we have been into this business, and people have been appreciating and getting the good results of the medications and the formulations which we are making. So yes, we ensure the trust, and we assure that we will always ensure the trust which we have been having since 76 years.
Great. And as we can see, there are some people who have already used your products, and I think they have had a good experience which they also want to share. But just for general information, doctor, we will slowly, gradually step into the topic for today so that people understand it right from the base of the whole health problem. So I'll start with some questions around hyperacidity, which was also somebody in the comment section was asking. And in general, what is acidity, and how is it different from acid reflux?
Well, acidity has become the commonest term used now in all age groups. It's not only related to any specific age group, and everyone faces that. Of course, the symptoms or the signs which we say might vary from season to season and person to person. That depends on the lifestyle of the person and the diet which the person is taking. So, when we speak about acidity, most of the people correlate it with pitta. people say pitta ho gaya hai, pitta jaise lag raha hai. So it is nothing but the acidity. So when we speak about acidity, it is very simple. When there is an excess production of stomach acid meaning the hydrochloric acid which is there in the stomach, which is responsible for the digestion of our food. When its production increases in your stomach, it actually gives you symptoms like heartburn and indigestion. So that is acidity. But when you ask me what is acid reflux, it is slightly different. The excess acid which is produced in the stomach, we call it acidity. But when it backflows into your food pipe, or what we say is when it backflows through the esophageal sphincter, then in the food pipe, it generates the heartburn. सीने में जलन होना. The most commonest complaint which we have is the heartburn. So this is how it is slightly different from the acidity.
Very easy to understand. I think in layman's language, what comes back up is acid reflux, and it's both acidity, but it's both excess of acid, but reflux
when
is what
it comes up into the food pipe, then it develops the burning sensation into the food pipe. That is acid reflux.
Understood. Great. So doctor, what are the common triggers that cause acid reflux and indigestion, and how can we avoid them in our everyday diet or whatever we are consuming?
Well, to begin with, the most commonest trigger, of course, everyone know the junk food or the outside food which we eat. But when I speak about the junk food or the outside food, what I mean is the oily food, the spicy food, the food which has been fermented, or alcohol, smoking, other foods like refrigerated foods, packaged foods. The consumption of all these foods has increased very much lately. So every single day we are consuming all of it definitely in our days. So this is what is the most triggering factor. And well, how to manage all these triggers? The very simple mantra is having wholesome, home cooked, fresh foods. Of course, you have to maintain the proper diet, but along with the diet, you have to maintain your lifestyle also. So I see there are a lot many people who eat these foods and then complain of acidity, but they do not know the lifestyle is in a toss. So after having dinner or after having lunch, people tend to go on their beds to rest, which is completely wrong. Your posture matters most when you want to combat all these problems, which are the triggers which I have mentioned.
Got it. So it's not just what you eat, but also how you what you do after you have eaten, and how you carry your body day to day. What is your lifestyle? Do you incorporate movement, or do you just lay down after you? So doctor, how does is there any role of stress also in this whole thing, or
definitely there is the biggest and the most commonest role of stress in acidity, as you said, or the acid reflux I would like to mention. So when a person is into stress, be it acute or chronic stress, what happens is the acid production in your stomach increases even more. So due to that, the blood circulation of the body is not towards your stomach. So it impairs the digestion process, and when the digestion process is impaired, all these symptoms, like I told you, heartburn, maybe pain in the stomach, or nausea, or some people might even face the headache. All these triggers might elevate, and that's how the stress plays an important role in elevating the acidity or hyperacidity issues. So when you have to manage this, the first thing is you have to manage your stress. And when I say managing your stress has to be done by the physical exercise, or by breathing exercises, or meditation. And definitely we can take help of yoga.
Sure. So, and now, I mean, these days, stress is not something that comes and goes away, right?
It has become chronic part of our lifestyle. Yes.
And people are chronically stressed. And so they don't realize that what is happening to their body is a byproduct of their chronic stress. They think that stress is happening because there is something wrong in their life, and whatever is not balanced in their life, when it comes back to balance, the stress will go away, and they don't know how it is connected to the entire way the body is functioning. So how to basically address this issue of chronic stress causing the issues in the body. As you said, of course, physical exercise, meditation, pranayam, yoga, these are helpful. But in terms of diet, wholesome food is what you said, right? Fruits. Can you throw some more light on the diet part?
Definitely, definitely. So when we speak about diet, I would like to make a simple request to all the people. When I say about wholesome food, that means the seasonal fruits, the seasonal vegetables, and the grains which you get into the market, the fresh ones, of course. Apart from that, you can always make use of milk, the cow milk or the cow ghee, which will help you reduce your acidity symptoms. In terms of stress, as I told you, physical exercises is must. There is a common concept. I think many of the people know, since everyone is on the Instagram. There's something known as happy hormones. So when you have to deal with the stress, you have to make yourself happy. The happy hormones have to be activated in your body. Those are getting activated when you do meditation, breathing exercises, and the physical activity. Any form of physical activity which you may love, be it cricket, be it swimming, be it badminton, or be it just running, anything which you like, which will increase the happy hormones, the release of happy hormones in your body, will definitely curb the stress, and in turn it will curb the acidity related issues.
Sure, and I heard you mention blood circulation. So because all these activities will also improve your blood circulation, so will that also help with acid?
Definitely, definitely. The blood circulation, once you have a great balance or a great blood circulation in your body to all the vital organs like heart, stomach, brain, kidneys, liver. Liver is the most important organ which is responsible for digestion. So we have to ensure, we have to do all these yogas or meditation or whatever suits you to ensure the proper blood flow at the major organs, and in turn it will result into great digestion and great health.
Great. Clears a lot of doubts. Thank you, doctor. So now the next question that I can think of is basically in diet. Can you explain what is the diet that causes more acidity? Like there are certain acidic foods, and then there are alkaline foods. So what is the difference? And
so basically, in Ayurveda, it has been told refrain from eating the acidic foods. The acidic foods like sour fruits, any sour veggies, fermented foods. So when I speak about sour and citrus fruits, that includes oranges, maybe a tamarind, tomatoes. All these vegetables and fruits increase the acidity. Even for that matter, cranberries or papaya. Now the concept is also like, the acidity is also referred to as amla pitta. So when I speak about amla pitta, the word itself tells you. Amla meaning sour, and pitta is one of the dosh in your body. So when this sourness or the amlata in the pitta is increased, if it is not in balance, when it is increased, it will cause the acidity or hyperacidity related issues. So you should refrain from eating this. Instead, you can choose for the foods which suit your body. So at times many of my patients do ask कौन सी दाल खानी चाहिए, कौन सी vegetables खाने चाहिए. So leafy vegetables definitely you can take rice, wheat, mung beans, the most important, the green mung beans or the yellow mung beans, masoor dal, all these vegetables, all these grains and veggies you can use. So these alkaline veggies and fruits, what they do is they neutralize the excessive acid which has been developed in your stomach.
Yeah.
So that's how that can go.
So how I can relate it to yoga, what we read in yoga is basically sattvic diet, and there is tamasic diet, right? So as long as you are eating sattvic diet, the issues of acidity do not crop up.
Definitely, definitely. Yes, sattvic diet will always provide you with lot of positive energy into your body.
Right. Yes, absolutely. Great. So so nowadays there is a lot of talk about gut health, right? I think there are a lot of promotions also around gut bacteria. There's, I mean, I don't know if people are well informed and whom to listen to, whether they know enough or not. It's a lot of confusion, but there is something related to good gut health and bad gut health, which is something I want you to throw light on, and how having a good gut bacteria can help manage the hyperacidity issues.
Okay. Definitely. So, as I told you, there is an acidic environment in our stomach. So, apart from that, there is something known as good gut bacteria, as you mentioned. So, this good gut bacteria, what they do is they protect your stomach and your health, and they also inhibit the growth of bad gut bacteria. So, for example, any foods which will be infested with H. pylori, what we call is Helicobacter pylori. So any food which will have this bacteria will cause problems to your stomach, having all sorts of problems like acidity, indigestion, maybe even diarrhea related issues and all. Well, mostly we find these bacteria into street food or the food which is not prepared in a proper hygiene.
Yeah.
And to combat this, definitely we can think of taking yogurt, curd, or fermented foods,
Okay.
kefir. These all probiotics. These are all the probiotics which will help you combat the issues. And of
Okay.
course, it will enrich the good flora, the flora of your digestive system, and that's how the good gut bacteria will help.
Got it. Okay. And so, doctor, coming back to the topic of amla pitta, can you throw some more light on that? And basically, how is it? What are the kind of foods that trigger it? I know you mentioned it, but relating it to what are the common symptoms if somebody has amla pitta, and how, now coming to Ayurveda, how can Ayurveda help in remedying that?
Well, as you asked me about the amla pitta, see, when I speak about amla pitta, not as I mentioned, not every person will tell all the time symptoms of amla pitta. There will be various people having various issues. So the commonest thing which Ayurveda has told is tikta amla udgar. So when I say tikta amla udgar, whatever food you have consumed, if you are getting the belching, the sour belches and the spicy belches, and the belches are repetitively
Okay.
causing the heartburn, causing the headache. That is one of the reasons. A second is nauseating. You at times feel nauseating no matter what food you eat,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
in amla pitta, because of the excessive production of that acid in your stomach, the stomach tends to produce that sort of acid only, which is not what you can say, which is not the natural form of acid, I would like to say. So
Okay.
अम्लता पेट में या फिर स्टमक में जो अम्लता तैयार हुई है, उसकी वजह से जो भी खाना हम डालते हैं वो अम्ल विपाकी हो जाता है, मतलब वो
Okay.
अम्ल सावर हो जाता है. Even if I
Okay.
eat sweet food, the
Yeah.
byproduct what is getting produced is probably the sour, and that's how I'm getting the sour belching.
Okay, got it.
Yes.
And
So that becomes a tendency of the stomach. And that's
yeah,
how any food I eat that is becoming sour, I'm getting the sour belches. So to
okay,
combat this, in Ayurveda, they have mentioned various herbs like Yashti Madhu, Amla, Udumbar, Ushir, Lodra. They have given very simple remedies also, which I generally follow and tell my patients to follow is have CCF.
okay,
It's a very simple formula: cumin, coriander, and fennel.
okay.
A mixture
CCF.
of all these three in equal quantities, boil it in water and have
Yeah.
it. This will make sure that you will combat all the symptoms of your hyperacidity. But it may not always solve your problem. You
Yeah.
might need a doctor's help or products or good Ayurvedic formulations. So such is our Dipya acidity relief tablet, which is having all the contents as I mentioned, or the
Yeah.
herbs like I mentioned. So all these herbs, they work in a various manner to combat all sorts of symptoms of hyperacidity.
So, doctor, I understand about the tablets, but as you mentioned, if somebody wants to take the herbs in boiled water, I'm sure people are taking notes. So, can they take it any time of the day, or is there a particular time in which it should be taken?
Well, I would recommend if you take it on empty stomach early in the morning, that will be more beneficial. But definitely, as I mentioned, every person is different. The symptoms of hyperacidity or acid reflux in every person will be different.
Yeah.
Definitely, they will be needing a doctor consultation for this. A doctor
Yeah.
will be a better person to personally check the patient, take the history, and give necessary recommendations. Of course, the recommendations has to be in the form of the change in lifestyle, change in diet.
Yeah.
Apart from that, one golden mantra Ayurveda has told everyone is
Yeah.
to try to balance out your meals or the time of your meals as per the circadian rhythm. तो जब
Okay.
सूरज उगता है
Right.
तभी हमारी अग्नि प्रदीप्त हो जाती है. What is that agni? That means the digestive power which we say. The power of
Right.
digestion definitely goes with the circadian rhythm, and so accordingly we have to plan our meals. So in the afternoon, the pitta or the pachak pitta which we say is the utmost. So
Okay.
that means the digestive power is at its utmost peak. So whatever
Okay.
you eat, you will be able to digest it very nicely, very quickly, and it will be healthy to, and it will be nourishing to all your body tissues and everything.
Got it. Great. A lot of information. Thanks, doctor. That's very insightful. What I have also heard, and there is some confusion, is basically how are Amla Pitta, Tridoshas, and Prakriti related or interrelated?
Definitely, this is a very nice question. So when we speak about Prakriti and Three Dosha, so I don't know how many of the audience are knowing about Three Dosha, but I would like to shed a light on this. Vata, Pitta, and Kapha are known as three doshas in Ayurveda. These all doshas are having the particular characters, and depending on the characters, there is a combination of these doshas which make the Prakriti of a person. So, say for example, uh, I am having Pitta dominant dosha along with Vata. So,
Okay.
in such people, now as I rightly mentioned, Amla and Pitta. The Pitta word is very common over here. A person who is having Pitta dominant dosha along with any other dosha, maybe it Kapha or Vata. In that, if such person is consuming a lot of spicy food or the foods like garlic, that elevates the pitta, uh, will have more problems of the acidity rather than a person who is having a kapha dominant dosha or vata dominant dosha. So Prakriti
Okay.
plays major role because the lifestyle and the diet which has to be taken in consideration is with the help of the Prakriti constitution which you have. That is the basic genetic makeup of your body since the
Yeah.
birth.
Okay. So, I mean, this is not something that you can change consciously in your
Definitely,
body.
you cannot change your Prakriti. You will have to change your diet, your lifestyle, and the
Yeah.
medication will also depend on the Prakriti and the symptoms which you are showing. So, Pitta dominant people will always or should always refrain from having too spicy foods. They
Yeah.
should be consuming some cooling foods such as ashgard or even amla.
Yeah.
Amla, that is one of the rasayan which is told in Ayurveda. So that will help them that will help them reduce the pitta which is there in the body or the
Yeah.
pitta which is excessively produced in the body.
Sure. And are there any easy ways to find out what are the dominant dosha in oneself?
Sorry, I couldn't hear you.
What I'm asking is there any easy way for me, for example, to know what is my dominant dosha?
Definitely, there is something known as Prakriti analysis, which has been done at your doctor. Specifically, if you visit your Ayurvedic doctor, they will ask you few questions to analyze your dosha, and some physical examinations would be done, and that's how you can know your Prakriti and you can know your dominant dosha, and accordingly, you can make the changes in your lifestyle.
Okay. Okay. So, doctor, in general, if we talk about Ayurveda and the remedies it can provide to curb hyperacidity or amla pitta, please throw light on all the possible things that are out there.
Okay, like I told you about the fruits and seasonal vegetables, one of the most important factors which I would like to tell you is these days everyone is having the various food combinations and the very odd food combinations, which is called as Viruddha Ahar in Ayurveda. So for example, if you are someone who likes to eat brownie with the ice cream or fruit salad, this is completely contraindicated or have been told to refrain from eating, because what this does is these are all the odd combinations. So milk and fruits are having, some fruits are sour, they are citrus, some fruits are sweet. Milk or curd never goes with the fruits. That is the Viruddha combination. Along with that, as I mentioned, the brownie and the ice cream. So the hot brownie and the cold ice cream. This is one of the type of Viruddha Ahar. Also, there are people who like to have fish and milk. This is one of the biggest Viruddha Ahar which we have told. So these all Viruddha Ahar also are a biggest part in making the acidity worse.
And I think some of them are very commonly consumed by people, and people even like them, cherish them. So it's good to have this awareness.
Yes, definitely. So to combat all these combinations or the acidity, of course, we also have one of the underrated fruit, I would like to say, but commonly we get it into the market, but we being lazy people, we don't try to go for it. The pomegranate is one of the best fruits you can always consume, or the pomegranate juice, because it is a coolant, it is anti-inflammatory, which with the inflammation which is caused by excessive production of the acid in the stomach, that is being relieved. Of course, it is a coolant, and definitely the, like I told you, in pitta dosha, when there is an increase of amlata, fruit like pomegranate or berries like amla, these all help to reduce the amlata or to remove the amlata from that excessive pitta dosha, and then they get the pitta dosha into the balance in your body.
Wow, great, ma'am. Very, very interesting information. Lots of information. I mean, and I think commonly, the awareness of this should be there, and it should be easily accessible to more and more people. So thanks for sharing all of this. My next question is, although I am an expert on this, but I would like to hear from you. If you get patients talking about acidity, what kind of yoga practices would you advise them in general? I mean, in your profession.
Well, definitely, we have read a lot about yoga. We keep on reading a lot about yoga, but practicing yoga, we don't usually do that. But I would like to press upon this point surely. As we were in the beginning of the session only, we were speaking about various types of pranayam, various types of yogic practices, maybe like Shitali and Sitkari and all. Of course, Shitali pranayam can be done to combat this issue. Apart from that, you can do Halasana, Trikonasana, Virabhadrasana. So all these asanas help you in a way that they open up the body, they open up your muscles which are stiff, they open up your pelvis, the pelvic region, and the stomach region, the muscles, the abdominal muscles, I would say. And when those tensions or those muscles get opened up, the acid, which like I told you, regurgitation or the backward flow of the acid into the esophageal or the food pipe happens, that gets that comes in a proper flow. Apart from that, yes, your blood circulation, as I mentioned, it is more important. The blood circulation also improves, the digestion improves because of that. So all these asanas are very much important to be followed in your daily routine.
Yes. So basically, having a good diet, having practices such as yoga, and consuming these simple natural herbs which can help in your holistic health, all of this goes a long way. I think any kind, not just acidity, any kind of health issue that you're facing, as long as you're eating right, you're following these ancient practices, I think nothing can harm you, and ultimately all your problems start to go away when you bring these things into your lifestyle.
Definitely.
So my last question, doctor, today, before we just let some of our audience also raise their questions, what is the antacid rebound effect for allopathy antacids, and how do Ayurvedic antacids have an edge over it? That is something that I want you to share.
Okay, yes, definitely. I think, like I mentioned, acidity is the commonest problem. There is a commonest perception. There is a commonest perception amongst all. We want a quick relief. So, we think of having antacids. Now, how to have antacids? People do not know कि we are doing such a big antacid abuse, or we are just abusing our bodies with popping the conventional medicine antacids like proton pump inhibitors, pantoprazole, or any sort. That is the commonest thing we are having these days. So in terms of rebound, when I say, first of all, you get dependent on such antacids, and when you get dependent on these antacids, you tend to not address your root cause. So it is just a quick fix, I would say. And then all these molecules, or the conventional medicine molecules, they tend to reduce the absorption capacity of your intestine and stomach, and that is how it creates a big problem. When you age, the digestive power has to be maintained and has to be in balance along with the pitta, as I mentioned. So when I speak about the Ayurvedic therapies or Ayurvedic herbs, like I mentioned, there is Udumbar, Lodra, Yashti Madhu, Guduchi, Amla, Haritaki. The most common is Triphala, which we take. That is also one of the best remedies, I would say, to combat acidity and acidity related issues. So how they work is, they have, in Ayurveda we call Rasa Virya Vipak. So that is another concept. But to get into a very simple line, the bitter herbs which are told in Ayurveda, they combat acidity and hyperacidity in a very nice way. They are having phytochemicals or polyphenols which definitely help reducing the symptoms of hyperacidity. So, like I said, there is an inflammation or there is a pain in your stomach, and the gastric lining is inflamed. That is, gastric lining में सूजन आ जाती है, and जब ये सूजन आ जाती है तो उसका root cause address करना बहुत important है. So when we address the root cause, we use herbs like Yashti Madhu.
Absolutely. So basically, the allopathic antacids, what they are doing is they are just giving a temporary relief.
Yes.
And but if the root cause is not addressed, and for a very long time you keep taking the allopathic medicines and just keep like pushing the problem, the actual problem away, and not addressing the problem, then in the long run this thing will become chronic, and basically you are not improving.
So basically you are trying to suppress the symptoms by using allopathic meds or the conventional medicines, but whereas in Ayurveda you do not suppress the problem. In Ayurveda it has been told the roots of chikitsa, basically Shamana chikitsa and Shodhana chikitsa. So the herbs which I mentioned, they effectively work in Shamana chikitsa. But if there is someone who wishes to do a panchakarma, definitely he should go for purgative therapies, what we call as a virechana. That will definitely help to remove the excess of the pitta or the acid which has been developed in your body, in your stomach or the body, as I mentioned. When that pitta is removed from your system, or when the excessive acid production is under control, is under balance, you are good to go, and you are through all your acidity or acid reflux problems.
Great. Great information, Dr. Law. I think my personal doubts around acidity have been released, and I have not taken notes, but I will watch this video again and I'll make sure to take notes and incorporate some of these things. I'm just checking if my audience has any questions, and this is the time. All of you, please go ahead and ask questions to Dr. Madhura, because such an expert being here, we should make full utilization of this opportunity. And please don't feel like any question is good or bad. You can ask just anything that comes to your mind, and the doctor will try to address that. I'll just check if there are any questions. People go ahead and ask questions, please. Even if something she has already answered, and if it's not clear to you, please feel free to go ahead and ask, because all of us if we get the information again, I mean, no amount of repetition is too much. Like, this is a topic which really, really needs a lot of understanding.
Yes.
Thank you, doctor. I hope you liked the explanations. You being a doctor, thank you. So please go ahead and ask your questions. I don't see any questions that are already there, but we'll just wait a few minutes.
Sure, sure.
Please let me know what if we get acidity during night time while sleeping. Ria is asking.
Okay, a good question. Yes. So during night time, first we need to ensure that after having dinner, at least for 1 hour, we should be in a proper posture, maybe possibly in the straight posture. If you are trying to sleep just right after the dinner into if you're trying to sleep at position maybe at 45-degree angle or more than that, it might create the problem. Now, definitely we need to think whether it is just an acidity problem or is it an acid reflux problem. If it is a reflux problem, then definitely you need to maintain the posture. And even though if you are not having getting the solution by maintaining the posture, then I would suggest that you should have a lukewarm milk with maybe a teaspoon of ghee into it, and yeah, you're good to go. At least it will manage the acidity related problem for the night and you can have a good sleep. But definitely you will need to figure out what medicines need to be taken, or definitely you can go with the Divya acidity relief tablet.
Okay. Thanks, doctor. I hope that answers your question. सुरेश जी, अगर आप हिंदी में क्वेश्चन पूछना चाहते हैं तो आप प्लीज पूछिए. यहाँ पे हम एसिडिटी के बारे में बात कर रहे हैं. प्लीज डॉक्टर विल बी, आई मीन डॉक्टर आपका हिंदी में जवाब देंगे अगर आपको इंग्लिश समझने में दिक्कत हो रही है. आई सॉ अ क्वेश्चन अराउंड. So we touched on the topic of gut health, right? So I think the question is about what are the Ayurvedic herbs that are specifically that can help improve the gut health?
So, like I told you, Ayurveda has always mentioned about the Rasayan Dravyas. So, Rasayan Dravyas mean that will work in whole of your body, definitely. You can go with, like I told you, Triphala, Avla, Hirida and Beheda, what we call. Apart from that, you have Guduchi, you have Patol, you have Nimba. All these herbs will definitely help curb your good gut health. And like I mentioned, the use of probiotics. Probiotics need to be used in combating the good gut health or good gut bacteria. So fermented foods like I'm not sure if many people have heard of this. Is something known as kombucha. It's a health drink which has been recently been very much famous. So yes, that is also one of the probiotics, and the easiest probiotic available to everyone is yogurt and curd.
Great. So, doctor, I see a question which is I would stress that the color of skin does not matter. So I mean, your question, I would say that you should not try to change your skin color. But the question, doctor, is that how to become fair like you, and if Ayurveda has any solutions in that. I know it is not related to the topic of our conversation today, but I thought I'll just raise this.
Well, now we are into an era where we do not differentiate between the color. We moreover go with the qualities of a person. See, you cannot change color of your skin. You cannot become more fair than whatever amount of complexion you have got. But definitely you can promote the skin health. And for that also, Ayurveda has mentioned many herbs. So one of the most commonest herb which we all use is Yoshita Priya. I'm sure people might not be knowing what Yoshita Priya is, but Yoshita Priya is nothing but the haldi. So along with haldi, you can definitely use jashti madhu. There are many other herbs like kesar. People are going gaga over kesar or saffron. So these are all the complexion promoters, but they will give you a good skin health rather than changing the complexion. So I think it's I don't think it's a proper question. How to get a fair skin like me? See, that is the prakriti, or that is the constitution, my body constitution.
Yeah.
The complexion which I have got is inherited from my parents, and that's why I was telling you it is the genetic inheritance or genetic makeup, which we call as prakriti or the bodily constitution.
Great, absolutely bang on, doctor. And I think skin health is what we should try to address here. I think I think because I mean, you are an Ayurvedic expert, people have questions outside of the topic of discussion today also. So I'll raise just one more question because we don't have any other questions on the topic. So somebody is asking about how Ayurveda can help improve the spinal health. And I know personally, I have been to Kerala Ayurveda to improve my cervical spondylosis many years back. And just within a few sessions, I had felt the difference with the Ayurvedic herbs therapy. So if you can share, I mean, in general.
Definitely, spinal health is again one of the biggest causes or the commonest issues which everyone is facing, because nowadays people are sitting at their desk at home and having a lot of desk jobs. So what happens is the posture matters. Like I told you before, also you need to try to at least sit erect. If not, if you're sitting for the long hours, because when you do not sit erect, there's a lot of pressure on your lumbar spine, specifically, and that causes a lot of issues. So what happens is when you're not sitting erect, when you're trying to sit like this in a bended manner on the lumbar spine or the vertebra, the pressure is generated, and the muscles, there is a lot of muscle tension and strain. When this happens chronic, you need to address that, because that causes pain and inflammation near the muscles and the vertebra. Apart from that, if you speak about the treatments for the spinal health, definitely you can go for panchakarma therapy. So there is something known as patra potali spade or sthanik snehan, sthanik swedan. So when you, that is oleation therapies and oleation therapies, and all these types of swade or lepana is also there. So all these therapies help regain the strength of the muscle to hold the vertebra or the spinal cord properly, and then we might definitely ask you to do some exercises which will give you a good spinal health. So yeah, that's how we can tackle.
Okay, thanks, doctor. So Reena, I know that question was from you. I hope doctor has answered that directly or indirectly, because your question was not clear to me, but I think the doctor has addressed 90% of your query. So I don't see any more questions, doctor, and also we are about time. I see somebody sending a sad smiley with the stomach written before it. So don't worry, आपके सारे acidity problems, everything will go away. I think we are all here to help spread this awareness of holistic health, and your stomach is your core, right? It's the core of your being.
Definitely. It's the core of your life. It's the core of your energy. It's the core of your digestion. So to ensure having happy, healthy, wealthy life, first you should focus on your health and definitely on your digestion.
Great. Thank you, doctor. Thank you from all of us on behalf of entire audience and myself, Dr. Madhura, for being here and having such an insightful session. I mean, I didn't even know so many things are there in just 40 minutes. You've given a lot of download of information. I'm sure you've been practicing for so long and you've studied so much to have this kind of knowledge within you. And thank you for sharing this with us and spreading awareness.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me on this platform, and I hope I have answered all the questions. For any more questions, definitely they can ping us, and we'll try to solve all their answers, and of course issues also.
Absolutely. Thanks everyone for joining. Do not forget to follow the Vedasri India page and please reach out to them in case you have any questions. I will be posting this video on my page, so you can comment down your further questions also, and we'll try to answer as many as possible. And thank you all for being here. Until next time, namaste. This is Iris signing off. Thanks, doctor.